Welcome everybody to another video edition of Think Suburbia, the podcast, the video podcast now of the Suburban Virginia Republican Coalition, the SUVGOP. I'm Mike Ginsberg. I'm one of the hosts of the podcast.
Hi, I'm Jill Cook. I'm the co-host of the podcast and another founding member of SUVGOP. And we want to welcome tonight Andrew Loposser, who is the chairman of the Arlington GOP. We are so excited to have Andrew with us. We're very impressed by everything that the committee has been doing. And we really want to get a perspective from somebody who's in deep blue territory. So welcome, Andrew.
Hey, Mike, Jill, thank you so much for having me. And thank you for all the great work you guys are doing at SUVGOP. It's been great to see that. And, I'm excited to come on and talk tonight about what we're doing in Arlington.
Excellent. So just a little bit, tell us, first of all, a little bit about the Arlington GOP, like the size of, the size of the organization, how long you've been there, and then tell us what motivated you to run for chair.
Well, I'm a glutton for punishment. I think that's obvious. So the size of the organization, I'm gonna tell you we have at least 100 members. And we almost do. So I think everybody's kind of suffering with this. Last year we had around 150. Due to the COVID stuff and the crisis, all the meetings got pushed back, and we have a lot of, I think Tim Parrish said it in one of your interviews, seasoned members of the committee who they like to turn in checks at the committee meetings. So I'm sure once we finally have those in-person meetings, we should get back up to about 150. But I think we had about 60 people join the committee, and that's going to grow again, for sure.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Go ahead.
You became chairman when and why did you run?
So, yeah, when did it was either late 2018 or early 2019. So, trying to think. So, our former chairman, Jim Presswood, who is an absolutely great guy. You guys probably know him.
Yes, we do.
He had some unforeseen medical issues come up. And he had talked to me about kind of making a committee and trying to find another chairman. So I talked to a couple of people, and we were looking, because you guys know it's definitely not a glamorous job, being the head of a volunteer organization.
Yeah.
It's all about the salary, right? It's for the salary.
Yeah, it's great. But, so we were looking, nobody really wanted to do it. And I'd previously been the chairman of the Arlington Falls Church Young Republicans. Pretty familiar with the state, because when I first moved here in 2012, I started cutting my teeth on campaigns, got really involved with King Cuccinelli's campaign in 2013. So I feel like I knew Arlington pretty well, the state pretty well. And so, I just said, hey, I'll do this because I wanted an opportunity to also grow the committee. So like I said, I can't remember if that was late 2018 or early 2019. But that's when I kind of took it over. I know it's close to there because I work in the General Assembly. And I was gone the first 3 months, just the way the legislature works here in Virginia. So I wasn't even running the meetings. But no, so that's kind of when I got involved. And, I think we'll see an uptick in membership, especially with the presidential election coming up, the Senate races, the House races. I know when I was working with the campaign, RNC in 2016, you see a lot more people get involved. So, I'm hopeful, and I know we'll see a lot more people get involved as we get closer to the election time.
Oh, that's great. Now, I used to live in Arlington. I was eons ago the YR chair, the Arlington Falls Church YR chair, back when they met in the Boulevard Wood Grill. And yeah. One thing I remember, from that time and from being, an active member, both of the YRs and the ACRC, the Arlington County Committee, was it is a very heavily Democratic area. It's very challenging. It's just, so those are the facts of life. They're challenging place to live if you're a Republican. How do you, and this is one of the things we as SUVGOP have been struggling with is, how do we build back the suburban base and the suburban voters within the Republican Party? Certainly voters in Arlington have a certain, they resemble some of the suburban electorate that we've been looking at. So I think one of the things that would be, very interesting to us is, how do you grow a GOP committee in an area like that where, momentum seems to be against you, at the present juncture, and, elections are probably tough sledding, at least, like I say, in the immediate present?
Yeah, so no, I'm glad you asked that question because that's usually what I hear a lot, right? So Arlington's full of Democrats, and it is. It's a heavily Democrat area. we're not winning any House of Delegates races, and president's not winning Arlington County this year. But we do have a lot of Republicans in raw numbers. So in 2016, 20,000 people came out and voted for President Trump. That's a lot of Republicans in a county. I mean, that's more than some counties around here. So we have an opportunity there to reach out and to grow the committee, which we have done. I think COVID slowed us down a little bit, but I think you guys know Matthew Hurt, our comms director. When I took over, when I started running the committee, I kind of gave Matt, he's got a very creative mind, kind of free reign to do what he wants to on Facebook, emails, everything else. And so what we've done is I think Mike, you may have said it in one of the podcasts, you guys, how you stretch $1 on Facebook, putting money behind some ads or boosting some stuff doesn't cost that much money and allows you to reach an audience. So what we've done is we've gotten our message out there to Arlingtonians, and we've actually had people reach out, email us, say, hey, like, I didn't know you guys existed. It's so refreshing to have a voice.
Yeah.
Because as you know, in Arlington, it's not everybody's like me. I mean, I love confrontation. I'll wear my Make America Great Again hat around just to make people mad. But not everybody's that way. And so it gives them an outlet to say, like, hey, it's good to know you guys are around, because there are, like I said, 20,000 people came out and voted for Trump. So there's some people around. It's just, I think we all know the Northern Virginia area government jobs, they don't want it to impede their career path. They don't want to be looked down on, even in the private sector where they're at. So, they're kind of, they're careful about it. But what's been great about the Facebook growth is we've actually turned the Facebook growth into IRL, like in real life activists. Because, everybody has their keyboard warriors. They like to sit behind the computer and type stuff out. But I'll give you guys an example of a couple of things we've done. So one of the first things is I'll talk about this later because I know it's on the topics, but we wanted to support some candidates running for the House of Delegates this year. So we didn't have any candidates here in Arlington running. So what we did was we sent out over 2,000 postcards to targeted House races around the Commonwealth. Y'all are probably familiar with one of them. DJ Jordan was one, Amanda Batt.
Yes.
Paul Mildy.
Right.
So, I knew that like those were targeted races, and that was a good way to use our resources. And we had some of these people who I've never seen at a meeting. We sent out a few emails about, hey, can you come do the postcards? Will you sign up? They were bringing postcards to Matt's apartment left and right, signing them, encouraging people to vote. And that was how we turned some, Facebook presence into in real life action. And we had another situation with a county board member here who was acting unethically. I guess we should say that. So, we sent out an email and said, hey guys, like copy and paste this email, tweak it, make it a little bit personal. On the back end, you can see who's seeing that. We had a lot of people say, hey, I've sent this out. Like I got this response. So we're really getting people involved locally where we can. And, if it's not a House of Delegates race here, it's somewhere else that we can be more effective around the state.
And that's one of the things that I really, really love about what you guys do. And by the way, I've never heard the IRL before, but I like that term in real life because you're right. There's a lot of people that do stuff, a few things here and there. I have some friends who write letters, but when you can morph that into somebody who goes and knocks a door or actually, sends something or makes a phone call or, they're more engaged. I love that you do that. That's the next question. You helped with races throughout the state. You actually helped with some races in other states. Did you not? Did you write, or was that another group, write postcards for other states?
So that may have been the YRFB. They may have been the ones to help out across the state. But I know Stephanie Zemanek, she's the Arlington County Republican chair now. Her and the group, when she had the group, they helped out 10 plus candidates and hit over 2,000, 3,000 doors this last cycle. I know DJ was part of that, and a lot of the targeted races were part of that. I think Ian Lovejoy was too.
Right.
So they really they went out there because, I always preach this to people, victory, what we can do in Arlington, we might not win races right now in Arlington. And I haven't given up hope. I think we can slowly change.
Right.
But, we need to help where we can and where we can be effective. And so she did a great job with that, with taking the Arlington Young Republicans and, hitting doors across the state for a lot of different candidates. But it may have been the wire feed that went to different states.
So the concept of it is great. And you're out of your own territory if you don't have a lot going on in your own territory to help us as a general party is just a fabulous idea. I love that.
Speaking of the YRs, I mean, that's another, something I spent a lot of time in the YRs, and one of the challenges I recall having was encouraging YRs to get involved with the county committees or the local unit committees. How do we, as a party, how do we encourage, folks in that younger cohort to become part of the entire party? Not that they would want to leave the YRs, but that they would also get involved with, other parts of the party as well, particularly the unit committees where, they can sort of act as a force multiplier for the party.
Yeah, I guess kind of how I see it now that I was in the YRs, now in the district committee more. I kind of see the YRs as more of like our activist arm. Like I said, more of our members right now are kind of the seasoned members. They've been there a while. They're probably not going to be the ones knocking doors and, making phone calls, but, they can help contribute to a cause, which you gotta have money to do anything politics. We all know that. I have seen more younger people get involved since we've, upped the Facebook page. Jill, I think, was on the call. I don't know. I can't remember. Our meeting was either last week or the week before, but anyway,
yes.
There was a young man on there and he was like, yeah, I joined. And like, I've never seen him before. I don't know where he came from, but I do get a lot of feedback from these new members because I always ask, I say, how did you hear about us? And a lot of people are seeing the Facebook engagement and the emails that we keep sending out. So I think doing that and, just keeping, especially the Facebook content fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we have something post like every 30 minutes between 6 a.m.
Wow.
and 6 p.m.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, we've got an intern this year from James Madison. She put together a community survey for us, which we did last year, which we sent out to all our members saying like, hey, what are you interested in? And preliminary results, only a few are in so far because we just sent it out this week. But, one of the big things people talk about, especially the proximity to D.C., they're more interested in the federal issues. Okay. Since I've been chairman, I've been trying to stress your board of supervisors is going to impact your life a lot more than the president or Congress. They're not the most sexy issues, but that's who's really going to impact your life. So we have seen from, the surveys we've gotten back so far, some people have come down and said they're more interested in state level and local politics, which I think is a good sign as we move forward.
That's a great sign. I had two things. First of all, I got your email. You have a great email list. I didn't fill out the survey because I don't live in Arlington and I didn't want to skew the results. But also, I love your social media comparison chart. You just are making a real impact. The statistics.
Yeah. So Matt put all that together. Like I said, he's done a great job. I know my strengths and weaknesses. I'm not a Facebook guy. Like I don't really run that stuff very well. He does. And he's also, we've got, like I said, I don't know how old this intern is from JMU, probably 19 or 20. She does it all the time. And so he's really trained her up really well. So, I'm lucky to have a lot of people around me that are good at what they do. And I think that's important with any committee is finding the strengths and weaknesses because not everybody can do one thing. And
right.
So Matt's great at that. And I think he told me earlier today, our post engagement and post reach are right around 50,000.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
It's been pretty good.
The comparison chart to your engagement opposed to the Arlington County Democrats was very striking, and I just love that.
Pride in that. Hey, our most popular meme was Ralph Northam not wearing a mask at Virginia Beach.
Well, the hypocrisy will get to anybody.
That's right.
Ridicule is man's most potent weapon. That's a Saul Alinsky rule. So
right. Well,
exactly.
And Ralph Northam is a very ripe and juicy target. He gives us plenty of material. I guess one other thing that sort of strikes me, and it's very impressive that you have such a great group of folks in Arlington, and a young group of folks. Folks who are in the the sort of the 25 to 40-ish range. I mean, a good cross section of ages. But one of the problems I think the Republican Party seems to have had, and I think it sort of bore out in our House races in 2018, was the loss of some of these suburban areas. I mean, that was sort of a motivating factor for us getting involved. And certainly, like I say, Arlington, has a lot of folks. I probably sort of think along those lines. I know I lived in Arlington before I moved out to Fairfax County. How do you think that we can reach younger voters? As a leader of the party and as a younger voter and younger leader yourself, how do you think we can reach these sort of up and coming generations that to be quite honest, have cast a skeptical eye toward the Republican Party of late?
I think it's such a complex answer, Mike, because a lot of our political leanings have to do with how we're brought up. So that that's something. I would say though, if we're trying to reach people where they're at, especially the younger generation, I'm not a big, Facebook, Instagram. That's about all I do. But there's TikTok or whatever it's called. Like there are all these different things people are doing. I think especially Facebook, like that's been a great way to reach people. But I think for our party is just kind of staying current and how to reach individuals. We've seen an uptick in campaigns using text technology. I'm sure Donald Trump's hit you up a couple of times a day for a donation.
Yes.
At least. So staying relevant that way and just kind of like evolving with technology and using that to our advantage, and also some of the ways that we may not like using that to our advantage as well. Maybe kind of like the no excuse, like absentee, like vote by mail that they just passed. We might not be a fan of that, but I'm not. But if we're gonna have that though, I think we've got to be smart as a party to take advantage of how we reach out to these voters. And Democrats are really good at that. So I think as times change, there might be things we don't like, but we can take advantage of it. Like, hey, you're 2018. Here's what we're about. Here's a sample ballot. Here's some literature. So, some things that are just evolving that the Democrats support that we don't traditionally support. We've just got to find a way to manipulate that and use that to our advantage. Instead of, I think a lot of the old guard goes, oh, this shouldn't happen. And maybe it shouldn't be happening, but it's just, it's reality. So
it happens. We have to find a way to deal with it, to work with it, to make it, to find ways that it works to our advantage. That's difficult. That's why it's a complex question, but you're right about that. Before I forget, I just want to ask, because we're so focused out here on everything that's going on in Fairfax and Loudoun counties. So Arlington County, are there any races coming up aside from, I think there's one in July. Is there anything on the horizon coming up in Arlington that we can start getting excited about?
Yeah, so glad you asked that. So July 7th, if anybody watching this is in Arlington, July 7th, special county board election. Bob Cambridge, he's our candidate. You're not going to see an RD next to his name. So Bob Cambridge, go vote for him, 40-year Arlington resident. I'm excited that we got somebody to run because last year, my first year as chairman, we got a whole lot of, I'm sure you guys are used to this. Oh, nobody runs.
Right.
Nobody's stepping up to run either. So it's, it's a problem, but I've focused on that a lot. I've had a lot of dinner meetings with people and, I've just said, hey, well, this is what it's going to take. So thanks to Bob for stepping up. That's going to be on July 7th. Obviously, we've got the Senate primary. But then in the November elections, we're looking for somebody else to run for county board as well.
So county board. So this is an interim position that he's running for to fill an unexpired term, or is it a separate?
Yeah. So unfortunately, one of the county, I think it was Eric Gutschell. He unfortunately got brain cancer and passed away. Yeah, it's his term he's filling. And this would normally be November would normally be the time when the elections are going to take place. So yeah, we focused on that though, recruiting people to run, encouraging them to run, and kind of giving them the support. Because I think now that we have some campaign professionals who are kind of in the committee, we can give guidance to these individuals and say, hey, this is what you need to do. This is not what you need to do. Just kind of give them a better idea of what it takes to run, be encouraging and help them out any way we can.
That's really excellent. You have a lot of great energy there. Hopefully things will open up so we can do in-person events. I know I've helped out. Jim recruited me, Jim Presswood, to work at the big fair you have at one of the schools and the parades and
fair.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on there, and there's great ways to engage with the voters if you have enthusiastic people that want to get out there and not be afraid to be a Republican in Arlington. You know, it's like my parents in Connecticut. My 90-year-old dad wears his MAGA hat into diners, you know, it's in Connecticut, but he's not afraid of it, and he gets a lot of good response. So we have to meet the challenge where it is, like you were saying. You know, you're there, you're in Arlington, we're going to have to work in Arlington.
Yep. Just keep grinding.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Anything else? We're coming to sort of the end of our podcast time. Is there any other, you know, points that
Mike,
we haven't
I
hit on?
want to invite to the conservative smoker thing, because I was smoking an Undercrown last night, and I said, damn.
Oh, you need to come.
Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah.
You are always welcome at the smoker.
I got to come to that, because it's I'm a big cigar guy, and I heard that when you guys did it with Tim Parrish, I was like, oh, this sounds like a
guess
great
what?
idea.
Every first Tuesday of the month here in McLean at the little Havana cigar shop a mile from my house. Every first Tuesday, you have to come.
Yep.
Ron Wright puts out a great spread. It's a beautiful back patio. I go. I don't smoke cigars, but I drink bourbon, and we have that there.
It's a great time. It's a grand, you know, I encourage all the Arlington GOP. It's a straight shot down Old Dominion.
Right, close by.
You know, it's very easy to get to, and we definitely welcome. And the smoke and the atmosphere makes for a good podcast.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come. It would be that would be great. Also, yes, anything I want to plug. I mean, our website's arlingtongop.org.
Yes.
There's nothing really. I would go there. We post the calls and everything else. But really, I mean, everything's on social media these days. So if you search Arlington Republicans on Facebook, you'll find us. It's at Arlington VA GOP. Again, that's at Arlington VA GOP. But you'll see it when you search Arlington Republicans. Like I said, it's also I want to mention the survey we sent out. Almost raised $1,000 in the past few days from that too. So people they're willing to donate, so that's always good. Anybody else out there listening to this that wants to donate, please just come to our Anadot page. And we also have we've got a good relationship with local media. I think we've made Inside Nova.
Oh wow.
Multiple times.
You did. I've seen it. Right. Yeah.
We're just trying to use all the tools we have, all the connections we have to kind of get our name out there and get in front of people.
Can I just, my little shout out here, since you mentioned that, we have some new members of our Greater McLean Republican Women's Club, and we have a publicity chair, and she has gotten us into some of these publications recently. And, it's not impossible to get into the media.
And it makes a difference. It makes a difference for growth and for the parties. So that's great.
Thank you for doing that. Anyway, Andrew, this has been great. I'm very much looking forward to seeing you at the next Conservative Smoker. And then when we open up our Potluck in Politics, we want to do one in Arlington. We were planning that before all this craziness shutdown hit.
Jill, let's do it. I know you don't smoke, but I'll bring you a cigar. It won't mess up your running that much.
That's right.
Thank you again. So thank you again, Andrew, for joining us on this podcast. Really appreciate you taking the time to join us. And I would encourage everybody who's watching this podcast, listening to it, the election is coming up on July the 7th. That's the county board special election in Arlington. We would love to have your support. I know the Arlington County Committee would love to have volunteers and help for that. So please get in touch with them. If you're interested, get in touch with us. We'll make sure you get in touch with them, and we'll make that happen, because these kind of local races, this is where we build our bench and build our candidate groups. So with that, thank you again to Andrew. And I hope you enjoyed this podcast. And if you want to watch all of our podcasts on our website, please feel free to go to visit our website, SUVGOP.com. Go to the drop-down menu that says SUVGOP Podcasts, and you'll be able to see all of our podcasts from 2020 and 2019. There's a whole bunch of them. Encourage you to watch that. So with that, thank you again for watching, and we look forward to seeing you on another edition of Think Suburbia.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.